Hi everyone. When I first decided to improve my English, I went a little crazy. I bought a giant grammar book with more than 500 pages, downloaded 10 different apps, and told myself, I will study 2 hours every single day. Guess what happened? By page 3 of that grammar book, I was already half asleep. By the third day, I was exhausted. By the fourth day, I quit. That was my first lesson. Motivation is not enough. You need a plan that feels possible. You need steps you can actually follow. So I began again. But this time, I tried something different. I didn't want to fight with English anymore. I wanted to live with it. Let me tell you the steps I followed. Step 1: 21 days of real-life English. I told myself, no more forcing. No more heavy grammar books. I just want to bring English into my daily life. For 21 days, I made English part of everything I did. I changed the language on my phone to English. The first day, I got confused. When my alarm rang, I didn't know what snooze meant. I clicked the wrong button and overslept. But instead of getting angry, I smiled. This was English in real life. I started writing my shopping list in English: milk, rice, apples. Sometimes I had to look up the words. Sometimes I spelled them wrong. But when I stood in the supermarket, looking at my little English list, I felt proud. At home, I spoke to myself in English. When I boiled water, I said, now I am boiling water. When I made coffee, I said, now I am pouring it. My family thought I was a little strange, but I laughed and kept going. Something amazing happened. After 21 days, English no longer felt like school. It felt like part of my normal world. Step 2: 30 days of listening only. The next step was to listen. Just listen. For 1 month, I filled my ears with English. I listened to podcasts while walking to the bus. At first, I understood maybe 1 word out of 10. The rest sounded like noise. But I kept walking and listening. When I cooked, I played YouTube videos in the background. Sometimes I didn't even watch, I just listened. At night, I listened to English music before bed. The first week was hard. I felt lost. But then, slowly, my brain started catching pieces. I recognized words. I started to guess the meaning from context. One day, I was walking to the store, listening to a podcast. The speaker laughed and said that was a big mistake. For the first time, I understood the full sentence. I laughed with him. That little moment gave me so much hope. Listening built my foundation. I realized you don't need to understand everything. You just need to let English live in your ears until it feels natural. Step 3: 50 new words in 30 days. After listening for a month, I wanted to speak more. But I needed words. I didn't want to memorize the whole dictionary. I just wanted useful words. So I picked 50 words like although, already, instead, and however. Words that appear everywhere. I wrote them in a small notebook. Every day, I chose 1 or 2 words and used them in sentences. For example, I wrote in my diary, although I am tired, I will study today. Or I already ate lunch. At first, it felt slow. But by the end of 30 days, those 50 words were mine. They lived inside me. To my surprise, with just 50 new words, my English became so much stronger. I thought to myself, imagine if I could do this consistently month after month. How much better could I become? I stopped worrying about learning thousands of words. I focused on small numbers. 50 words in 1 month. Another 50 in the next. I didn't need to rush. I just needed to keep going. I realized something important that day. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. It is not about studying for 10 hours in 1 weekend. It is about showing up every day, even if it is just 10 minutes. And once I understood that, I was ready for the next step. Step 4: Speak for 5 minutes every day. Speaking was my biggest fear. I hated my voice in English. Every time I opened my mouth, I felt like a child. I worried people would laugh at me, but I made a deal with myself: 5 minutes a day. Just 5. I didn't need a partner. I just needed my phone. I pressed the record and spoke. The first time, I only lasted 1 minute. I froze. I didn't know what to say. I felt embarrassed, even though no one was listening, but I tried again the next day. I talked about what I ate for breakfast. Another day, I described my room. Slowly, I reached 5 minutes. The recordings were terrible. I made mistakes in every sentence. Sometimes I couldn't even understand myself. But I kept going. After a few weeks, something changed. My words started to flow. My sentences got longer. My fear got smaller. One day, I listened to a new recording and thought, wait, that actually sounds like English. That was one of the happiest moments in my journey. Step 5: Grammar without pain. Grammar used to be my nightmare. I thought I needed to know every rule before I could speak, but then I changed my approach. Instead of trying to learn everything at once, I focused on one small piece each week. For example, one week I practiced only past tense. I wrote about my childhood. I played football when I was 10. I liked cartoons. I wanted to be a pilot. The next week, I practiced present continuous. I described what I was doing. I am sitting in my room. I am writing in English. I am drinking tea. Little by little, grammar stopped being a monster. It turned into something useful, something I could work with, and the best part? I did not have to study a 500-page book. All I needed were small steps, week by week. Step 6: Read one story a week. After grammar, I needed more input. That is when I turned to reading. Not textbooks, but stories. Simple ones. Every week, I chose one story. Sometimes it was a children's book. Sometimes it was an article online. The first story was hard. I stopped every 2 sentences to check the dictionary. It took me an hour to finish 1 page, but I pushed myself to finish. And when I closed the book, I felt proud. Week by week, reading got easier. I stopped checking every word. I started guessing the meaning from context, and the stories gave me more than words. They gave me feelings. They gave me characters and emotions. They made English come alive. Reading one story a week was like food for my English brain. Step 7: Find your English friend. Learning alone can be heavy. I needed someone to share the journey with, so I joined a small online group for learners. That's where I met Daniel, a guy from Brazil. We started with short text messages, then voice notes, then short calls. We made mistakes. We laughed at each other. Sometimes, we mixed English with our native languages. But we encouraged each other to keep going. Talking with him gave me something grammar books never gave me: connection. I realized English is not just a language. It's a bridge. It connects you to people you would never meet otherwise. Step 8: One big project. After months of practice, I wanted a challenge. Something scary. So I gave myself a project: make a short video in English and post it online. It was only 2 minutes long. I talked about my journey and my goals. I practiced again and again. I wrote notes. I recorded 10 versions. Finally, I uploaded it. I was nervous. What if people laughed at my accent? What if they pointed out my mistakes? But the comments surprised me. People didn't care about my accent. They didn't care about small errors. They cared about my effort. They encouraged me to keep going. That project changed everything. I realized English is not about being perfect. It is about being brave. Step 9. Review your journey. 6 months later, I looked back. I listened to my first recordings. My voice was shaky. My sentences were broken. My grammar was messy. Then I listened to my new recordings. My voice was stronger. My sentences were longer. My thoughts flowed. I read my old diary entries. Simple sentences, full of mistakes. Then I read my new ones. Clearer, smoother, more natural. For the first time, I saw my progress. Real, visible progress. That review gave me new energy. Learning English is not just about moving forward. It is also about looking back and seeing how far you have come. Step 10. Never stop. English is not a finish line. It is not something you complete and put away. It is a lifestyle. Now, I don't study English. I live with it. I watch English movies and read books. I send messages to friends and write in my diary. I still make mistakes. I still forget words. But that is okay. English is not about perfection. It is about connection. And that is how I learned English. Not in 1 month. Not with one book. But step by step. Day by day. With mistakes, with laughter, with patience, and with courage. If I can do it, you can too. If you liked it, kindly like, subscribe, comment, and share. Keep going, be kind to yourself, and see you again on Stories by the Window.